Maya Jennings waved goodbye to her colleagues as she left the bustling research facility. The evening was crisp, and the city lights flickered like distant stars as she made her way to the subway. Unbeknownst to her, a pair of shadowy figures monitored her from across the street. Their eyes, hidden beneath the hoods of their cloaks, glowed with a soft, unnatural hue. "Target is on the move," one whispered into a concealed device. "Initiating capture protocol." Maya settled into a nearly empty subway car, lost in thought over her latest project. She didn't notice the strange duo that entered and sat at the opposite end of the carriage. "Is it confirmed that she's the one?" the taller figure murmured, not taking his eyes off Maya. "Affirmative," replied the other. "She's the lead on the interstellar communication project, exactly what the High Command wants." As the train rattled through the tunnels, Maya felt a strange chill. She looked up, her eyes briefly meeting those of her watchers. She frowned, feeling uneasy, and decided to switch cars at the next stop. However, as the train slowed, a sudden, piercing sound filled the air, and the lights flickered violently. Passengers screamed, clutching their ears. Maya staggered to her feet, disoriented. Before she could react, a sharp sting pinched her neck. Her world spun, and darkness claimed her. When she awoke, she found herself strapped to a chair in a dimly lit room. The air was cold and sterile, and the faint hum of machinery resonated through the walls. "Where am I?" she demanded, struggling against her restraints. A figure stepped into the light, its skin shimmering with a silvery sheen. "You are aboard the Tsar vessel, orbiting your Earth," it said in a voice that buzzed like static. "Do not fear. If you cooperate, no harm will come to you." Maya's mind raced. She remembered the figures from the subway. "What do you want from me?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "The knowledge in your possession is valuable to us," the alien responded, leaning closer. "Your research on interstellar communication can be beneficial to our cause." "And if I refuse?" Maya said, her heart pounding in her chest. "That would be most unfortunate for you," the alien replied, its eyes narrowing. "Cooperation is in your best interest." Maya glared at the creature. "I won't help you," she declared, her voice resolute. "I don't know what you want, but I won't be part of it." The alien paused, tilting its head as if puzzled by her defiance. "There are ways to persuade you," it said slowly. "We have methods to extract the information we need." Maya took a deep breath, bracing herself. "I'm not going to make it easy for you," she warned. The alien smiled, a disturbing, too-perfect curl of its lips. "We shall see, Maya Jennings. We shall see." With that, it turned and exited the room, leaving her alone in the chilling silence, her mind whirling with plans to resist and escape. Maya sat in the dimly lit room, her hands still bound, waiting for the alien's return. The door hissed open, and the same silvery-skinned figure entered, followed by another, carrying strange devices. "Good, you're awake," the first alien said, its voice devoid of warmth. "We can begin." Maya's eyes darted to the devices. "Begin what?" she asked, her voice betraying a hint of fear. "Your cooperation," the alien replied, placing one of the devices on a table beside her. It looked like a mesh of wires and electrodes. "This will help us understand your language better and extract the necessary information directly from your thoughts." "I told you, I won't help you," Maya asserted, trying to sound confident. The second alien approached, its fingers deftly manipulating the device. "Whether you choose to speak or not is irrelevant," it explained. "This will retrieve what we need." Maya felt a cold dread as the alien adjusted the device, preparing to place it on her head. "What do you want from Earth?" she demanded, seeking any information that might help her or her planet. "Our interests need not concern you," the first alien responded curtly. "What should concern you is your own well-being." As the device neared her, Maya took a deep breath, trying to prepare herself for what was coming. The electrodes touched her skin, sending a chilling sensation through her skull. "Relax, human," the second alien instructed as it activated the device. Maya's head filled with a high-pitched whining noise, and she winced in pain. Images and words flashed through her mind at a blinding speed. Her research, her colleagues, Earth's defenses. She tried to focus, to push away the invasive probe, but it was relentless. The first alien observed the data streaming on a nearby screen. "Fascinating," it murmured. "The complexity of their communication is primitive yet intricate." Maya gritted her teeth, struggling against the pain. "You won't get away with this," she spat out. "Humanity won't stand by and let you threaten our world." The alien studying the screen turned to her, its face expressionless. "Threaten? No. We seek only to preserve our dominion. Your resistance is merely an inconvenience. As the session dragged on, Maya felt her energy draining. The room spun around her, and she felt herself slipping into darkness. Yet even as consciousness faded, her mind clung to a single thought: survival. Finally, the device was removed, and the alien stepped back. Maya's head slumped forward, her breaths shallow. "We will continue later," the first alien said, as if she were nothing more than a task to be checked off. "Rest now, for your own sake." As the aliens exited, the door locking behind them, Maya's mind raced despite her exhaustion. She needed a plan, any plan, to warn Earth and thwart these aliens. Her resolve hardened. She would find a way, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, Jack Turner paced the Situation Room at the United Defense Command. The walls were lined with digital maps and real-time satellite imagery, but his mind was focused on one problem: Maya's disappearance. "Anything new?" he asked, turning to his communications officer. "Still nothing on civilian channels or our intel nets," she replied. "It's like she vanished into thin air." Jack frowned, his gut churning with worry. He had worked with Maya on numerous projects, their skills complementing each other. His in military tactics, hers in scientific innovation. "This doesn't add up," he muttered. "She's too high profile. Someone must have seen something." Determined, Jack decided to widen their search parameters. "Check any anomalous reports, no matter how small, from the last 24 hours, he instructed the team. As they dug deeper, a junior analyst flagged a security feed from a subway station near Maya's lab. "Sir, you're going to want to see this," he said, pulling up a video. The footage was grainy, but it showed Maya entering a subway car, followed by two indistinct figures. Moments later, a flash of light briefly illuminated the car, and all three vanished. Jack's experience told him this was no ordinary abduction. "Enhance that last part," he directed. The team worked quickly, isolating the figures and the strange light phenomenon. "That's not any technology we know," Jack stated, his suspicion growing. "Get me all data on recent UFO sightings or unexplained aerial phenomena." The search turned up a series of sightings of an unidentified object in orbit above the city, reported by amateur astronomers just hours before Maya's disappearance. "It's them," Jack concluded, his jaw set. "Aliens. And they've taken her." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jack convened an emergency response team. "We have an alien incursion," he announced to the assembled group, composed of the best minds in military and scientific communities. "One of our own has been taken, and I intend to get her back." The team sprang into action, pooling resources and expertise. A plan began to take shape, focusing on a two-pronged approach: a rescue mission and a defense strategy in case of further alien aggression. Jack took the lead on the rescue operation. "We'll need a covert team, small but heavily armed, and we're going to need a way to approach their ship undetected." The tech division proposed using experimental stealth technology, originally developed for spacecraft but never tested in an actual mission. "It's risky," the lead engineer admitted, "but it's the best shot we have." Jack nodded. "Prepare the stealth craft, and get our best people on it. I'm going in with them." As the team mobilized, Jack felt the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. This mission was personal. He wasn't just fighting for Earth or human sovereignty. He was fighting for a friend. "Hang on, Maya," he murmured, staring at the orbital map. "We're coming for you." Maya's eyes slowly adjusted to the dim light as she regained consciousness in a different part of the alien ship. Her mind was fuzzy, her thoughts scattered from the relentless probing. Despite the fog, her resolve remained unbroken. She scanned the room, noting vents, doors, and any potential tools within reach. The door hissed open, and a different alien entered, slender, taller, with a gentler demeanor than the previous ones. It approached her, holding a tray with what looked like food and water. "We do not wish to harm you further," it spoke, its voice softer, almost empathetic. "You must eat to maintain your strength." Maya eyed the alien cautiously. "Why are you doing this to me?" she asked, her voice hoarse. The alien hesitated, then sat down beside her, placing the tray on the ground. "There are many factions among us. Not all agree with the High Command's methods or intentions." This was the first sign of discord Maya had encountered among her captors. Sensing an opportunity, she leaned forward slightly. "And which faction do you belong to?" she probed. The alien looked around nervously before responding. "I am part of a lesser council that believes in coexistence rather than conquest. Many of us are growing weary of the endless conflicts." Maya absorbed this information, her brain ticking. "Help me then," she said quietly. "Help me get out of here, and I promise to advocate for peace between our peoples." The alien studied her for a long moment, as if weighing the sincerity of her words against the potential consequences of betrayal. Finally, it nodded. "I can unlock your restraints when the time is right, but you must be ready to move quickly." Maya nodded, a surge of adrenaline warming her veins. "I'll be ready." Over the next few hours, the alien discreetly showed her schematics of the ship and explained the layout. It was like nothing Maya had ever seen, but her brilliant mind began to piece together a viable escape route. The alien also provided a small, concealed communication device. "Use this to signal me when you are ready to enact your plan," it instructed. As the alien left her again, Maya tested her limbs, feeling strength return. She used the time to strengthen her resolve and plan each step of her escape. The stakes were high, not just for her own life, but potentially for the entire human race. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Jack and his team were making final preparations for the stealth insertion. Every piece of equipment was checked and rechecked. The mood was tense but determined. Jack addressed the team, their faces grim but resolute under the dim lights of the prep room. "We all know the mission. We go in quietly, we find Maya, and we bring her home. Keep your comms open and your eyes sharp. We're not only fighting for one of our own, but for the future of our planet." The team nodded, each member mentally preparing for the challenges ahead. As they boarded the stealth craft, Jack took one last look at the star-studded sky. "This is it," he thought. "The real fight begins now." Their craft slipped silently into the darkness of space, beginning its clandestine journey towards the alien ship and the heart of enemy territory. Maya, unaware of the rescue mission in her honor, readied herself for a daring attempt at freedom that would either save her life or end it. The stealth craft glided through the vacuum of space, its advanced cloaking technology making it nearly invisible to the naked eye and undetectable by the standard sensors of the alien vessel. Inside, Jack and his team checked their gear one last time, their faces set with determination under the low light of the craft's cabin. "Approaching target," the pilot whispered into the comms, his voice tense but controlled. "Activating final approach sequence." Jack nodded, his focus razor-sharp. "Everyone, sync your watches. We go silent in 3, 2, 1. He flipped a switch, and all communication devices muted, plunging the team into a tense quietude. On board the alien ship, Maya was making her own preparations. She had hidden the small communication device in her sleeve, waiting for the right moment. The friendly alien, whom she now knew as Kale, had informed her that her restraints would unlock automatically in sync with a shift change, creating a small window for her escape. The moment came, and the restraints clicked open silently. Maya's heart pounded in her chest as she stood, her legs slightly unsteady but functional. She tiptoed to the door, peeking through its small window. The corridor was momentarily clear. She took a deep breath and stepped out, her senses heightened to every sound and movement. Meanwhile, Jack's team had attached their craft to a less guarded hull section of the alien ship, using a quiet laser to cut through the external material. They moved through the opening with practiced stealth, navigating the alien corridors with a map Maya had transmitted to Earth before her capture. Jack led the way, a hand signal here, a gesture there, coordinating his team's movements. They avoided patrols and dodged security devices, making their way deeper into the vessel. Simultaneously, Maya, moving through a different part of the ship, used her rudimentary knowledge of the layout to avoid detection. She used the communication device to signal Kale, who guided her via short, whispered instructions. "Left at the next junction, then straight until you reach the maintenance bay," Kale's voice directed in her earpiece. Maya followed the instructions precisely, her mind focused on survival and escape. She reached the maintenance bay and hid behind a large tool console as a patrol passed by. She could hear her own breathing, loud in her ears, and forced herself to calm down. Back with Jack's team, they were closing in on the holding area. "Visual on target zone," hissed the point man, peering around a corner with a small handheld scanner. "2 guards armed, standard patrol patterns." Jack surveyed the area, then turned to his team. "Take them silently on my mark. Mark!" The guards were neutralized without a sound, their bodies carefully hidden. Jack's team advanced to the holding cells, searching each one. But Maya wasn't there. "Damn it, she's moved," Jack muttered, checking the scanner again. Just then, his device buzzed, a signal from Maya's communicator. "She's alive and on the move," he relayed to his team, a surge of relief and urgency flooding through him. Adjusting mission parameters, we rendezvous with her at the extraction point. Maya, receiving confirmation that her signal was received, pushed forward with renewed vigor, knowing help was close but not yet secure. The stakes were higher than ever as both parties moved towards each other, a silent symphony of rescue playing out in the cold expanse of the alien ship. Inside the labyrinthine corridors of the alien ship, Maya pressed forward, guided by Kale's whispered directions through her communicator. Each step was a calculated risk, each turn a potential encounter with her captors. Despite the dangers, Maya's determination did not waver. She was going to escape, or she was going to die trying. As she navigated a narrow passageway, a sudden alert sounded through the ship. Lights flashed, and the calm hum of the vessel turned into a cacophony of alarms. Maya froze, heart pounding. The ship was on high alert. Jack's team had been detected. "Proceed to the nearest ventilation shaft," Kale's urgent voice came through the earpiece. "It's your only chance to avoid the patrols now." Without hesitation, Maya pried open the vent cover and squeezed herself into the narrow space, her breaths quick and shallow as she crawled forward. Meanwhile, Jack and his team were also adapting to the sudden escalation. They took cover in an engineering bay, assessing their options. "We need to create a diversion," Jack said, his mind racing. "If we can draw them away from Maya's location, it might give her the chance she needs to reach the extraction point." The team agreed and quickly set about preparing a series of small but potent explosive charges. They placed them strategically to cause maximum chaos without endangering the ship's critical systems. Back in the ventilation system, Maya continued her claustrophobic journey towards freedom. The cramped tunnel was suffocating, but the fear of capture pushed her onward. Suddenly, the ship shook violently as the charges detonated, echoing through the corridors and drawing patrols towards the source of the disturbance. Maya paused, listening to the distant shouts and confusion. "This is it," Jack communicated to his team through hand signals. "Move out towards the extraction point. Keep your heads down and stay sharp." As the team moved out, they encountered scattered resistance but managed to keep a low profile, using non-lethal force to incapacitate any threats. Each member was acutely aware that there was no margin for error. Maya finally emerged from the ventilation shaft into a dimly lit storage area. She checked her device, which buzzed quietly. Jack's team was close. Just then, she heard footsteps approaching rapidly. She ducked behind a large container, her heart racing as two alien guards entered the room, weapons drawn. They were sweeping the area, clearly searching for her. Maya glanced around for anything she could use as a weapon. Her hand found a heavy wrench, and she gripped it tightly, ready to defend herself if necessary. Just as one of the guards turned towards her hiding spot, a shadow appeared behind him. Jack. With swift precision, he incapacitated the guard with a silent takedown. The second guard turned, but was quickly subdued by another team member. Jack and Maya locked eyes for a brief moment, relief and resolve passing between them. "Good to see you, Maya," Jack whispered, helping her to her feet. "Likewise," Maya replied, her voice low. "Let's get out of here." With Maya now part of their group, the team made their way to the designated extraction point. Their movements were deliberate, their escape planned down to the last detail. But as they neared their goal, the real challenge awaited. The final stretch was heavily guarded, and they needed a clear path to make it out alive. With Maya safely reunited with Jack's team, they pressed on toward the extraction point. The ship was still in a state of chaos, the crew disoriented by the diversions Jack had set in motion. Every step closer to freedom was fraught with danger, but the team moved with precision, bolstered by their recent success. "Extraction is just ahead," Jack whispered, leading the way through a maze of corridors illuminated by emergency lights that bathed everything in an eerie red glow. Maya, despite her ordeal, kept pace with the team, her mind focused sharply on the escape. Her eyes continuously scanned the environment, identifying potential threats before they could materialize. As they approached a large cargo bay, their final barrier to freedom, they encountered a new challenge. A squadron of alien guards had set up a makeshift blockade, their weapons trained on the only exit. Jack signaled the team to take cover. "We need another diversion," he muttered, eyeing the room's layout. Maya touched his arm, pointing to a series of large fuel containers stacked near the guards. "Those could provide the distraction we need." Nodding, Jack assigned two of his team to lay down suppressive fire while he and Maya, along with another team member, moved into position to use the containers to their advantage. The firefight erupted with intense precision. As their teammates drew the guards' attention, Jack and Maya stealthily approached the containers. Jack planted explosive charges, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Once these blow, it'll cause enough confusion to break their line, Jack explained, setting the timer. We'll have a small window to get through. Maya nodded, gripping her stolen alien weapon. The charges detonated with a deafening roar, and as predicted, the guards scattered in panic, the explosion sending shockwaves through the ship. Move, 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 Jack shouted, leading the charge through the smoldering chaos. The team sprinted across the cargo bay, dodging debris and disoriented guards. As they neared the exit, one of the guards recovered quicker than expected, raising his weapon towards Maya. Without hesitation, she fired her weapon, taking him down with a precise shot. The team burst through the exit into the docking bay, where their escape ship awaited. The pilot, seeing them approach, powered up the engines, ready for an immediate departure. Jack and Maya were the last to board, ensuring that every member of their team was safely inside before sealing the hatch. As the ship detached from the alien vessel, they could feel the tremors of pursuit as the Tsar tried to lock onto their escaping craft. "We're not clear yet," the pilot called out, maneuvering the craft with expert agility. "They're trying to lock onto us with their tractor beam." Jack strapped himself in next to Maya, his eyes on the view screen. "Do whatever you have to. Just get us out of their range." With a few skillful maneuvers, the pilot dodged the incoming tractor beam, pushing the engines to their limits. The alien ship grew smaller in their rear view as they made their escape, the vastness of space swallowing them whole. As they set course back to Earth, the team let out a collective sigh of relief, the tension melting away with each light year they put between themselves and the Tsar. Maya leaned back, her body aching but her spirit unbroken, her thoughts already turning to the consequences of their escape and the information they needed to share with Earth's leaders. Jack glanced over at her, a smile breaking across his face. "You did good, Maya. We all did." Maya nodded, her eyes meeting his. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "It is, but whatever comes next, we'll face it together," Jack replied, his voice resolute as their ship streaked through the cosmos, carrying them toward home. With Maya safely reunited with Jack's team, they pressed on toward the extraction point. The ship was still in a state of chaos, the crew disoriented by the diversions Jack had set in motion. Every step closer to freedom was fraught with danger, but the team moved with precision, bolstered by their recent success. "Extraction is just ahead," Jack whispered, leading the way through a maze of corridors illuminated by emergency lights that bathed everything in an eerie red glow. Maya, despite her ordeal, kept pace with the team, her mind focused sharply on the escape. Her eyes continuously scanned the environment, identifying potential threats before they could materialize. As they approached a large cargo bay, their final barrier to freedom, they encountered a new challenge. A squadron of alien guards had set up a makeshift blockade, their weapons trained on the only exit. Jack signaled the team to take cover. "We need another diversion," he muttered, eyeing the room's layout. Maya touched his arm, pointing to a series of large fuel containers stacked near the guards. "Those could provide the distraction we need." Nodding, Jack assigned two of his team to lay down suppressive fire while he and Maya, along with another team member, moved into position to use the containers to their advantage. The firefight erupted with intense precision. As their teammates drew the guards' attention, Jack and Maya stealthily approached the containers. Jack planted explosive charges, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Once these blow, it'll cause enough confusion to break their line," Jack explained, setting the timer. "We'll have a small window to get through." Maya nodded, gripping her stolen alien weapon. The charges detonated with a deafening roar, and as predicted, the guards scattered in panic, the explosion sending shockwaves through the ship. "Move, move, move!" Jack shouted, leading the charge through the smoldering chaos. The team sprinted across the cargo bay, dodging debris and disoriented guards. As they neared the exit, one of the guards recovered quicker than expected, raising his weapon towards Maya. Without hesitation, she fired her weapon, taking him down with a precise shot. The team burst through the exit into the docking bay, where their escape ship awaited. The pilot, seeing them approach, powered up the engines, ready for an immediate departure. Jack and Maya were the last to board, ensuring that every member of their team was safely inside before sealing the hatch. As the ship detached from the alien vessel, they could feel the tremors of pursuit as the Tsar tried to lock onto their escaping craft. "We're not clear yet," the pilot called out, maneuvering the craft with expert agility. "They're trying to lock onto us with their tractor beam." Jack strapped himself in next to Maya, his eyes on the view screen. "Do whatever you have to. Just get us out of their range." With a few skillful maneuvers, the pilot dodged the incoming tractor beam, pushing the engines to their limits. The alien ship grew smaller in their rear view as they made their escape, the vastness of space swallowing them whole. As they set course back to Earth, the team let out a collective sigh of relief, the tension melting away with each light year they put between themselves and the Tsar. Maya leaned back, her body aching but her spirit unbroken, her thoughts already turning to the consequences of their escape and the information they needed to share with Earth's leaders. Jack glanced over at her, a smile breaking across his face. "You did good, Maya. We all did." Maya nodded, her eyes meeting his. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "It is, but whatever comes next, we'll face it together," Jack replied, his voice resolute as their ship streaked through the cosmos, carrying them toward home.